the headlines for this hour on VTV News. Recounting memories of the soldier who captured General Descartes alive. Vietnam experiences unprecedented high temperatures. And in our war news, Russia responds to U.S. latest sanctions.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 8 a.m. local time in Hanoi. You're watching VTV News. The 7th extraordinary session of the 15th National Assembly was convened in Hanoi on Thursday afternoon to consider the dismissals of the National Assembly chair for the 2021-2026 tenure. After hearing proposals, the legislature proceeded with discussions, conducted a secret ballot, and adopted a resolution on relieving Vương Đình Huệ from his position as the chairman of the 5th National Assembly. Approved the removal of Vương Đình Huệ from the post as a member of the Councils of National Defense and Security and allowed the terminations of duties for him as a deputy of the 15th National Assembly. The legislature also passed a resolution on removing Dương Văn Thái from his positions at the 15th National Assembly lawmaker. Also, according to an announcement of the National Assembly Standing Committee, Politburo member and standing vice chairman of the National Assembly, Trần Thanh Mẫn, will manage activities at the National Assembly and its Standing Committee until a new leader of the legislature is elected in accordance with the law. During the 9 sessions of the Central Theoretical Councils on Thursday, the Council provided feedback on the draft summary titled Some Theoreticals and Practical Issues Over 50 Years of National Reunifications, 1975-2025, aiming to enhance the theoretical discourse on socialism and Vietnam path to socialism. Nguyễn Xuân Thắng, a Politburo member, director of the Ho Chi Minh National Academies of Politics, and chairman of the councils, urged delegates and scholars to concentrate on key aspects of the draft report. These included analyzing the global and domestic context, addressing significant theoretical and practical matters over the 50 years period of national reunification and socialist progressions, and discussing opportunities, challenges, and unresolved issues. On Thursday afternoon in northern Dien Bien Province, Nguyễn Trọng Nghĩa, Secretary of the Party's Central Committee and head of the Party's Central Committee's Commission for Communication and Education, commended the dedications of all those involved in preparing for the 70th anniversary of the Dien Bien Phu victory. He praised the forces to join the military parade for having overcome challenges in training despite harsh weather conditions. He also urged them to maintain the commitment and determination to successfully fulfill their tasks at the official ceremony. The Ministry of Public Security and the Ministry of National Defense are to collaborate with Dien Bien Province to ensure security and safety during the event. The historic victory of Dien Bien Phu 70 years ago was attributed to many people. Among them is hero of the People's Armed Forces, Colonel Hoàng Đăng Vinh, who joined his comrades in capturing General Descartes. At that time, he was only 19. In this soldier's memory, he recounted the lesson learned from the President Ho Chi Minh's humanitarian ideology towards prisoners of war and kept them close to his heart for the rest of his military career.
I was in Company 360, Battalion 130, Regiment 209, Division 312. Our unit was responsible for the attack on Him Lam Base and the final battle where we captured General Castries.
On the afternoon of May 7, 1954, squad leader Hoàng Đăng Vinh, who was 19 years old at the time, charged into the command bunker at Stronghold A1 and captured the defeated General Castries and all his senior officers. That was the proudest and most sacred moment in his military career.
When the enemies lowered their weapons and raised their white flags, we didn't shoot. It became a conditioned reaction of the soldiers. When we detained the CASTRIES and were passing through, the French soldiers applauded. That astounded me, as they were so happy not having to fight anymore.
Soldier Hoàng Đăng Vinh participated in all 56 days and nights of Dien Bien Phu campaign. For his triumphs, he was awarded 3 medals, including the first-class victory medal awarded by President Ho Chi Minh himself. As a revolutionary soldier, he followed Ho Chi Minh's ideology on propaganda work, mass mobilization, and humane behaviors to prisoners of war.
Each soldier was tasked with propaganda work to demoralize the enemy, enlightening them to the right cause. We used loudspeakers to draw their attention and attract their entire unit.
Hero of People's Armed Forces Colonel Hoàng Đăng Vinh passed away in 2019 at the age of 85, but the images and memories of the Dien Bien soldiers like him still live on, contributing to the ever-shining history of Vietnamese army that is war-hardened but adores peace.
70 years ago, during the Dien Bien Phu campaign, newspaper reports on the battlefield became an effective source of information that fueled the political work of the entire campaign. Contributing to the strength of the newspapers on the front is the role of caricatures, poster, and illustrations drawn and printed right at Dien Bien Phu. These images have become an indispensable spiritual source for the soldiers stationed at the front.
There was a caricature I still remember, which was the suffering of the Western troops. I found it amusing as it reflected the reality that for each difficulty we faced, our enemy was facing tenfold. We also asked for copies of old newspapers and spread them among the troops, just for viewing pleasure and aiding our spiritual lives.
Simple illustrations as well as humorous caricatures depicting the losing state of the enemy. They all fueled the morale of the Vietnamese soldiers. These are all illustrations created by Nguyễn Bích, the artist from People's Army newspaper who was stationed at the front.
My father is a humorous person. He is witty, and he is very observant. His humorous caricatures are very subtle in the way they depict the daily lives of French soldiers and generals.
In the fierce conditions of war, there weren't enough newspapers for all units, and there were times when liaison soldiers became newsies who relayed information and described pictures of the painters to the soldiers.
I was a liaison soldier. When I arrived at the battalion, I discovered that the battalion had People's Army newspapers. I copied anything interesting or tried to remember the caricatures and relay them to my fellow soldiers. I just described the downfall of the enemy to raise the soldiers' morale and fuel their excitement that our victory is imminent. I also described in detail the grandeur and majesty of the propaganda pictures that depicted all combat units, from the infantry to the anti-aircraft guns. At that time, our anti-aircraft artillery had not yet deployed, and we already had a picture like that. This made the soldiers very happy at the scale of our army, and how close we were to the ultimate victory.
The caricatures, illustrations, and propaganda posters were simple, yet carried great power that convey information to encourage the morale of the soldiers. These images have become a symbol that contributed to the victory of the Dien Bien Phu campaign.
As we enter the middle of the second quarter, the average export price of certain agricultural products such as vegetables and fruit has increased. This has enabled agriculture to continue contributing to economic development as exports in this sector have consistently shown growth. Specifically, the fruit and vegetable industry is undergoing notable growth with an increase of more than 32% compared to the same period last year. It is predicted to set a new export record of $6 to $6.5 billion this year. Export in the second quarters are forecasted to be even more exciting than the first quarter. This is because many agricultural products, especially key fruits such as lychee, longan, mango, and dragon fruit, will enter their harvest season. Consequently, businesses are channeling their efforts into preparing resources, promoting trade, searching for markets, and signing new orders. In the second quarter of this year, the agriculture industry targets a growth of 2.9 to 3%, with export about $14 billion, higher than the results achieved in the first quarter. While export market continue to diversify, the focus remained on three traditional markets: China, the United States, and Japan. In the coming months, Vietnam anticipates the arrival of 300 international major retailers, procuring goods and fostering supply chain connections. This is a promising sign within latest efforts to promote Vietnamese goods globally. Therefore, export markets are expected to be diversified and product value to go up.
Exports of Vietnamese branded processed crabs to the U.S. have seen a 20% surge in value compared to its domestic sales. Export volume totaled 10 tons monthly.
We've managed to yield profits and obtain a positive cash flow and continued operation.
This enterprise designated 60% of its sales for foreign retailers. Compliance to market standards and proactive engagement in trade promotion have helped it receive more orders.
We expect more opportunities to boost sales through trade promotion initiatives.
Vietnam ranks among the top 5 exporters to global world market system, totaling $7 billion in turnover annually. Similarly, exports through other major global retailers collectively amount to millions to tens of millions of US dollars annually.
The procurement of Vietnamese goods at our system has seen a sharp increase and is projected to reach $1 billion by 2025. Notably, AEON has decided to exclusively source agricultural products like bananas and fresh mangoes from Vietnam, instead of Thailand and Philippines, our former trade partners.
The Ministry of Industry and Trade is actively supporting businesses in promoting exports through foreign retail channels. More than 50% of Vietnamese enterprises are now preparing themselves to formally qualify for trading at the global supply chain.
We will connect international partners with as many local businesses as possible through streamlined database systems.
Moreover, the ministry has recommended firms to prioritize green and sustainable production to align with the increasing demand for environmentally friendly products.
Coming up next on VTV News, Vietnam experiences unprecedented high temperatures. And digitizations to take Vietnam's art scenes by storm. Last month saw unusually hot spells all over Vietnam, with many areas recording unprecedented high temperatures. This intense heat is forecasted to persist in the coming time. April witnessed widespread heat across the entire country from north to south, with average temperatures staying at 2 to 4 degrees Celsius higher than usual, and in some cases over 4 degrees Celsius higher. It marked the hottest April in nearly half a century, with 110 locations throughout Vietnam setting temperatures records. This heat wave is attributed to the El Nino phenomenon and the strong development of hot low-pressure areas in the west, exacerbated by winds effect. Meteorologists predict that temperatures will remain elevated in the coming months. For the past 7 months, people in Hàm Thuận Nam District, Bình Thuận Province have yet to see any rain, and for more than 2 months, fresh water in reservoir and tributary has all dried up. Thus, locals are currently having to make use of all water sources while longing for the first rains of the season.
Since the beginning of the year, the rainwater shortage tanks of Dung Hau in Ham Thuận Nam district have stayed empty. There isn't enough water for daily use, let alone for cultivation.
The dragon fruit trees haven't been watered for nearly a month now. The weather is too sunny, too dry.
The water bodies in Ta Mon Lake in Tân Lập Commune, Ham Thuận Nam district have a total capacity of over 600,000 cubic meters of water. This locality has remained dry since the beginning of March.
It costs me over $10 to buy a barrel of water. And I have 3 barrels to water my garden. 2 months ago, I didn't turn on the night light to trigger the dragon fruit's growth, because there wouldn't be enough water to nurture the fruits.
Gardens of kumquats, plums, and dragon fruits cannot survive without water. There's no chance of breaking even now.
Meanwhile, a large portion of 1,800 hectares of dragon fruit tree in Tân Thuận Commune, Ham Thuận Nam district have died due to lack of water.
The underground water people have stored only meets 1/3 of the demands, which puts the dragon fruit growers in a very vulnerable state.
The last water supply session for Ham Thuận Nam area was around May 4th and was sufficient for only 1,600 hectares. The remaining 4,600 hectares are without water. Other major lakes have dried out since the end of March.
With irrigation projects being dried out, Binh Thuận Irrigation Work Exploitation Company is keeping regulating water from surviving lakes to dry areas for farmers to sustain their crops, waiting for first drops of rain to come in early May.
On Wednesday, a widespread fire broke out in Dương Tơ Commune, Phú Quốc City, Kiên Giang Province, affecting an area of 11,000 square meters, including 700 square meters of protected forest. In Kiên Giang Province, a forest fire in Vĩnh Phú Commune, Giang Thành District has damaged about 371 hectares of forest over the past few days. Localities have requested relevant units to be on duty 24/7 and equip themselves with machinery to strengthen fire prevention. Over the past 7 days in An Giang, local authorities have reported 2 forest fires, resulting in damage to more than 40 hectares. In response, firefighting efforts have been escalated as over 16,000 hectares of forest are under the threat of extremely dangerous fires. 2 decades ago, the Central Highland provinces initiated a plan to allocate residential and production land to local ethnic households. They repurpose unused and inefficient land into concentrated production areas. Subsequently, these farming areas were handed over to farmers for crop cultivation. This initiative has brought about significant improvements in the life of ethnic communities.
Yi Kung's family members are harvesting the remaining rice from the winter's spring crop amid a scorching heat. In 2016, due to a lack of production land, his family was granted more than 6 acres of land in this field. Despite initial difficulties, the household is now able to produce 2 dry crops, equivalent to 10 tons per year.
For this crop, we earn more profit thanks to the authorities' support in seeds and fertilization. Initially, local people were not familiar with the new agricultural practices. Therefore, the district organized field workshops and provided training sessions. Rice prices have increased in recent years, so farmers' income is becoming more stable.
When the Erot Lake Irrigation Project was put into use in 2016, the Ayaka District's People's Committee mobilized all resources to improve the fertile soil layer. They then divided the land into plots and handed them over to more than 450 ethnic households. Currently, the local authorities are taking measures to expand the field area by associating it with local investment projects.
We've inspected this area to evaluate the terrain and make appropriate elevations. The survey unit also assessed the area geology during the process and believes the area provides favorable conditions for wet rice to grow.
proper planning of production areas has created sustainable livelihoods for ethnic households. This endeavor affirms the effectiveness of the government's decision number 132 in enabling ethnic communities to enjoy a more prosperous life.
From April 24th to April 30th, 2024, Working Group Number 11 embarked on a mission to visit troops and residents of the Trường Sa archipelagos and DK1 platforms. The delegation toured 5 islands locations and the DK114 platform. During this visit, delegation leader provided encouragement and distributed essential items and computers, symbolizing the mainland's affection for the soldiers and citizens, safeguarding the nation's sacred sovereignty. This initiative served as an opportunity for Vietnamese expatriates from various countries worldwide to deepen their love for their homeland, fostering solidarity to defend territorial integrity and contribute to the nation's prosperity and development. In today's digital age, it only takes a single tap on a smartphone to access various art forms such as painting, theater, and music, regardless of times and space. The digitization of art not only helps to preservation efforts, but also brings it to a wider audience.
Thanks to user-friendly applications, art enthusiasts can effortlessly explore masterpieces by renowned artists in 8 different languages. Moreover, virtual tours offer visitors an immersive experience of entire exhibition spaces accessible through websites.
This is a pivotal idea that has so much room for growth. We plan to introduce more exhibiting technologies, including 3D mapping and immersive experiences.
Sống Lab, Vietnam's first digital art hub, is launched in Central Hue City. Its archives of artworks draw inspiration from Vietnamese culture, art, and architecture. Sống Lab offers a not-to-be-missed sensory delight.
I particularly love this interactive space. I feel fully immersed in virtual elements like butterflies and underwater placements.
This digital platform serves as a catalyst for collaboration among creators and artists, blending historical heritage with the vibrant energy of Vietnam's youth.
The digitization of artworks not only breathes a new life into cultural legacies, but also paves the way for innovative artistic endeavors. These initiatives resonate strongly with younger audiences, offering nothing but wonders.
Coming up next in our world news, Russia responds to U.S. latest sanctions. And Gaza infrastructure damages estimated at $333 billion. On May 1st, the U.S. Department of Treasury unveiled Washington's new package of anti-Russian sanctions. The U.S. authorities say the sanction targets Russia's defense industrial complex and sources of supply. In response, Russian ambassador to Washington, Anatoly Anatov, said that the sanctions were a resumption of anti-Russian movements, meaning to knock down competitors from the markets. He added that the U.S. was seeking to intimidate the Russian partners, including China, to block the channels of normal foreign trade cooperation. The U.S. targeted nearly 300 entities in one of the most wide-ranging sanctions aimed at Russia. It sanctioned nearly 60 entities located in Azerbaijan, Belgium, China, Russia, Turkey, and the United Arab Emirates, and Slovakia. The Gaza Strip suffered about $33 billion in damages after 7 months of the Israeli attack, driving 90% of the population below the poverty line. According to Gaza Department of Information, Israeli attacks have destroyed the infrastructure of 15 economic sectors in Gaza, including healthcare, education, construction, housing, and urban services, among others. The unemployment rate rose to 75%, up 30% compared to pre-conflict figures. In addition to damages to critical infrastructure, the attack has also taken a toll on Gaza's humanitarian situation. The entire population of Gaza is experiencing acute food insecurity. As of Wednesday, more than 34,500 Palestinians were killed in the Gaza Strip and nearly 78,000 people were injured in Israeli army attacks. About 100 hostages remain in Hamas captivity. Hackers who breached a United Health Tech unit in February potentially stole data from a third of the American population. This statement was delivered after a cyber attack on the U.S.-led largest health issuer, which processes around 50% of all medical claims in the U.S. United Health paid the perpetrator around $22 million in Bitcoin as ransom. According to the firm's CEO, the cyber criminal gang hacked into its system using stolen login credentials on an older server that did not have multi-factor authentication. Therefore, the firm committed to launching multi-factor authentication on its systems in the next 6 months. In addition, it offered no-interest loans to affected hospitals and doctors and free credit monitoring to affected patients. At first glance, the story might seem to be about a gathering of elderly people who have brought their grandchildren to a party. However, it's actually about a unique model in the United Kingdom that integrates a nursing home with a kindergarten. In this setting, the elderly teach children valuable life lessons, while the children alleviate the loneliness of the elderly and fill their life with joy.
Having fun is easy when there's singing. He used to be a truck driver. At 84, he now needs assistance and has been living in this intergenerational community for 2 years.
The minute I walked through the door there, I wanted to be here. That is the honest truth. It's just warm, peace.
Have you got another screw, Jacob?
Bill Jones used to be an engineer. He's showing 3-year-old Jacob how to handle a drill.
What is this?
These joint activities are optional for young and old alike. Joyce Aston takes part as often as she can.
Once a week we come down. It's nice, isn't it? They all seem to enjoy it.
Play with my friends to make them be happy.
The guiding principle here is that no one should feel isolated. Many are on a first-name basis.
She's learned a lot from the older residents, if it's arts and crafts. The big thing as well is the communication skills and a little bit of empathy towards them as well. So how she actually treats them when we're in here and we get to see them is absolutely fantastic.
Bill Wall spends each afternoon with the kids. They call him Our Bill. Staff say the children are calmer when he's there. Every day with the children is a new beginning for Ian. And a good day.
Don't you go away. Don't you.
And now, as usual, let's continue with the weather forecast. And that's it for this hour on VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can log on to vtvgo.vn or download our mobile application VTVgo. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.